everyone, this is Marla Bensaveni giving you my Module 15 case study for AEP 858. So what do we know about Truman Elementary School? We know that there is an opportunity for government funding through a grant, and that the government funding is only going to give applicants the money for those who already practice in research-based programming. And they also are only giving the money to those who have been teaching the state standards. So it only makes sense. And we know that Truman Elementary is not teaching to standards at this time. We also know that the concerns of ELA, so in the areas of decoding, spelling, and instructional practices, have been brought up to the principal by the PTO. And then we also know that since the concerns were brought up, there was observations, and the observations were done by the principal, and for a second look, the reading supervisor. So what do we need to know? What do I need to know? So I want to know what types of communication modes the schools are using to inform parents of school processes. What types of partnerships have they already created? And by doing that, I'll need to know, is there websites? Is there mandates of, the teachers are having to keep some type of communication log? What's going on here? I also need to know what the demographics are. I need to know, are teachers keeping track of their types of students? Is there co-teaching going on? Is there a population of gifted education, population of special education? We know that there are students on 15% of students are on free and reduced lunch. So that means that there might be title funding, because that's how the states get their title funding. And then also we know that there is a small percentage of population of those who speak English as a second language. So are there being supports being put into place for that as well? I also would like to know what type of assessments this district or school is given to their students. So are they given district-wide assessments, or is every school on their own? What types of things are put in place for student progress monitoring? Is there curriculum maps in place? We know that they're not doing such a great job at teaching to standards, so is there some type of map that the teachers are going off, or is everything just a free-for-all? Is there evaluations going on? Is the principal coming in and giving ongoing feedback to their teachers, or it doesn't seem like much is going on here? So I need to know what types of PD have they been given. It's not very fair to be evaluating these teachers ongoing if we're not giving them the tools through professional development in order to be successful. So the problem, the school is failing to inadequately teach the reading as a whole in an environment that properly provides rigor, relevance, and engaging for all diverse learners and individual learners. We know that the school needs to redesign their curriculum and bring their teaching methods and their teaching techniques up to date. And in order for this to happen, we need other things put into place to effectively meet the needs of diverse students. So our plan of action. So what are we going to do in order to address all of these concerns? So the first thing that I would do as the principal is I would collect the perception data. I want to know how the students, the community, parents, how everybody's feeling, and what do they know about the district or about the school, and what type of curriculum and maybe even behavioral procedures are going on in place. I want to know what they know. The second thing I would do is analyze the data of the elementary schools. So the case study mentioned that there are other elementary schools in the district. So I want to know what the data is of those schools and also surrounding district schools. I need to revamp and create curriculum maps for each grade level that reflect the current standards. And these curriculum maps need to be sequential, systematic, and rigorous. I am going to look at the curriculum materials. I'm going to collaborate with my staff to see what types of programs they want to put in place in order for these students to be successful in the future and out in the real world. That is what our job is. We need to get these kids ready for the real world. So we need to have the curriculum in place in order for them to be successful. And then also, I want to give the teachers the professional development they need in order to implement these standards. I want to bring them up to, date in order to effectively meet all the students' needs. I want to create an assessment calendar. I want to house all of the assessments that the district gives, that my school gives. Even if teachers give their own progress monitoring, I want this housed in one area where I can see what is going on in my building. How are we monitoring student progress? And then I'm going to mandate 90 minutes of ELA instruction per day, and I'm going to invite the outside community to our district meetings, our board meetings, and I'm also going to see if I can get out there in the community and attend PTO meetings and other things that the community is putting on. So, other plans of action. So this is my plan of action continued. I want to be able to evaluate teacher performance. Once all this PD goes on, I want to give feedback regularly to my staff and just see how their performance in the classroom is improving. And then I'm going to apply for the grant. Once these things are put into place, we will be in good shape to successfully achieve the grant money. And then I want to create a school website that demonstrates what's going on in my building. I want the community to know what is happening, what great things are being accomplished in order for these students to be successful. What are the kids doing? What are the teachers doing? What's for lunch? You can put the lunch menu on there. You can put the school calendar. You can put assemblies. Everything could go on there so the parents are informed of what is going on. And then also, I want to be a support for teachers. This is often overlooked. Those teachers that have been teaching for many years, they might not be so receptive to change. So I want to make sure that they are in a good place and, they're being supported at this time. So what did I do to promote student success? So I'm going to collect, track, and evaluate data on each individual. I need to make sure that my teachers know that if a student is struggling, they need to bring them to RTI. They need to be performing the right interventions. They need to be grouping these students in order to meet the needs of all of these learners. It seems like we're in a diverse community, so we need to make sure that we put these things in place. I'm giving my staff professional development that they need. I'm designing new curriculum maps, and I'm implementing new teaching techniques. I'm making sure my teachers are up on the latest and greatest of different types of methods, techniques, pedagogy, everything they need in order to be up and, all the students are achieving their own success in their classroom. So as I was reading the case study, these are a few things that I was wondering. I was wondering what the rating supervisor and the principal has been doing all this time. I felt so embarrassed. How did this go unnoticed? I also wanted to know what the turnover rate was for the teachers. Have teachers been teaching in this district a long time? Doesn't seem like it, that the community is attached to the teachers. So sometimes when that doesn't happen, it's because the teachers are too new and then they move on to other districts. Have the teachers been asking for help? It's quite embarrassing if the teachers have been asking for help from the administrator. This is something that we don't know. And then, judging by the way PTO acted, is there a strong community and it's just being overlooked by the administration? And then what kind of supports are put in place for special education students Title I ESL? Where we talk about the students being board in class. So is it not being effectively grouped? Is the classes being stacked? Is there too many special ed kids in one classroom where, there's not enough peer modeling? And then what type of home to school connection um, is happening here? I knew what I could do as, the principal, but I would like to know what type of involvement is going on. As an administrator, I immediately understood that there were concerns. I didn't sugarcoat anything. I made sure that I knew that I had an action in place and I addressed the concerns and we're moving and grooving. Another thing is that I provided professional development for my staff. I didn't just throw things at my staff. I understood that this was a concern, and in order for an instructional program to be successful, I needed my staff to know how to do and everything that they need in order to, teach the new standards. And I redesigned the curriculum. I changed scheduling. I mandated the 90 minutes, and I implemented the new curriculum and programs. I, as a community, the outside of the policy and laws and regulations, I understood that there is a grant money, and that's a federal opportunity. I used appropriate state standards in development of the new curriculum, and when sharing the data with the PTO, I understood that there's laws, that I can't just share names, I can't just show them things, that there's FERPA guidelines. And the last, as a building administrator, I knew that it's important to keep open dialogue with the community and the decision makers of the school concerning the efforts of the teachers and those who are all involved. So I gathered perception data. I wanted to know what everybody was thinking and what they knew about our school. I invited the community to the board meetings, and I also created a school website. And so everybody is on the same page and they understand what we're doing here and what we're trying to accomplish in the future.